and I want to go way back, right? And I'm going to give her props because I didn't know much about Ebony Bridges.
82-second KO. That's exactly what it was. It's your girls, Katie and Sham here at Boxing and Bants. And last week I said it was going to be a saucy Saturday, and that it was. So all fights were great to watch on the Conor Benn and Samuel Vargas card. But there was one in particular that we thought was superb. So that was Shannon Courtney and Ebony Bridges.
Ebony Bridges.
Sham, what did you think of that?
Can we just go right back to
welterweight title fight?
The weigh-in. So we start at the weigh-in. I want to go way back, right? And I'm going to give her props because I didn't know much about Ebony Bridges before this fight. She came out in lingerie and a thong and stood in front of everyone half naked, right? So on the one hand, I'm thinking, wow, this is new. I've never seen this before. She's brave. Is it a mistake? Are people just going to look at her like, not take her seriously, effectively? I mean, it was kind of cringe, but it was funny at the same time, standing in front of Eddie Hearn, half naked, right? I think she's very smart. And the reason I say that is she'll know that most of the boxing audience are male, right? So she's trying to sell her fight.
You knew what she was doing.
She knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
So, she got it in that respect. Then her ring walk, if you remember, she came out to Barbie Girl.
Barbie Girl.
I really hope she can fight because otherwise this is just the whole thing is just going to be like a joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lo and behold, she can fight. Do you know what I mean? What did you think of her performance?
I thought she put on a great performance. Opening round, she was aggressor. I mean, she was a bodybuilder and a kickboxer, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong. But she walked Courtney down. Her punches, her jabs seemed to be a lot more stronger than Courtney's, I would say. And Courtney was bloodied from early. I don't know where the cut came from in her head. I'm not sure what particular punch
It happened in round 2, and it was I think it was a right hook in round 2.
Okay.
And the blood just started spewing.
It was going.
Head, and then obviously it just got everywhere. The both of them just looked completely bloodied up. I thought both of them, it was a stunning performance. I didn't expect it, to be honest. It wasn't a fight I was particularly, apart from the controversy, because she's quite controversial, Ebony Bridges.
Yeah.
I wasn't particularly that excited about it before, but it gripped me.
I think the build-up, it didn't excite me. I was thinking at the weigh-in is when I said, I definitely need to watch this because the whole lingerie and so on and so forth. But like you said, it didn't excite me. I wasn't like, I need to watch Ebony and Courtney and Shannon Courtney. But when I sat and I actually watched it from the ring walks and then round 1, I didn't even get up to get a drink. That's how deep it was. I sat there and waited for the next round and the bell to go. And, and it was beautiful.
She kept the pressure up.
Yeah.
And what I would say is Shannon Courtney's blows, they were a lot more accurate, I would say, at times, and they were the more eye-catching ones. But, it wasn't an easy fight for Shannon Courtney. She kept the pressure.
No.
And Ebony Bridges had a really bad bruising and swelling to her eye, from about, was it round 7, 8, something like that? Was practically closed. And it takes courage and guts to dig deep
continue.
like that. Do you know what I mean? Because she must have been in pain with that.
It's true. And visual sight, she couldn't see as well because it was like nearly completely closed. But, credit to Courtney. She did that all with her jab. She won off the back of her jab. But what did you think of the scorecards?
I think
so it was 97 to 94, 98 to 92, 98 to 92.
I think they were right, to be honest with you. Yeah. I thought they were right. Some people might say they were a bit wide, but I think they were right. When I look back on the shots that really caught my eye, the impressive, the classy, accurate ones, they came from Shannon Courtney. But that's not to discredit Ebony Bridges. I think they're both. It was a slugfest.
And they went toe to toe, and they were both being drawn into a fight.
Yeah,
a back and forth, head to head fight. No one was backing down. Everyone gave as good as they got. So brilliant fight.
Main fight of the night: Conor Benn versus Samuel Vargas, WBA Continental welterweight title. I am still astounded. I'm still on a high from that. I didn't expect. We said last week in the show, did we not? It was going to be a point win. And lo and behold, we didn't even make it past the first round.
82-second KO. That's exactly what it was.
I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed with Conor Benn that I'm just so excited to see what comes next from him. And to beat someone like Samuel Vargas, who has gone 12 rounds with Amir Khan and has been in the ring with Errol Spence and Danny Garcia.
Elite boxers.
You know, like, he flattened him in round 1. And I know they say styles make fights, but like, to me, that sets him apart. And I just can't wait to see what's next. How did you feel about it, if you can say much, because it was only 1 round?
Yeah, listen, but I thought it was a clever matchup. With Ben, it was hit and not get hit. And he hardly got hit. Well, it lasted 82 seconds, as I said. In his 5-year career, I would say this would have been the biggest fight to date. Intensity from the opening bell, the spear and jab he used. And I saw that same jab against Formella that he used here. Mm-hmm. But he just kept Vargas at a range. He was quick, he was sharp, he was fast, he was intense. He started intense, he finished intense. Everything was just, you know, but I think we both knew Ben's capabilities from when we spoke last week. We said we know what he's about. We know what he's about. And this just proved what we were saying is, you know, there's something about Ben, and he's gonna get far. And you know, his trainer, his trainer was saying that he's not gonna, you know, obviously speed up the process to get him in the ring with other people. He wants to make sure that he's developed and he's taking his time. And that's what I rate about Conor Benn and his team. They're not just throwing him out there and just money making, you know, for the boxers. They just want to make money. They see something in Ben, and, you know, they're taking their time with him. And it's like he's like a diamond.
Yeah, we said that last week. Like, it's a steady progression. They're not putting him in with bumps. Let's make that clear. He's not going in with bumps. It's a steady progression, but they're not overextending him. And just to go back to Saturday night, one of the things that I've seen about him a couple of times, and it was confirmed for me on Saturday, is when he smells blood, he goes for it. And he knew at that point, now is the time to strike. And he sensed it. And that's a sense of boxing IQ, to know when the right moment is, because sometimes you can do that and you can get it wrong and then you can get counted. He knew there was no coming back for Vargas at that point. And it was a good range of shots, you know, right hooks, left hooks, uppercuts, everything. Just a flurry of them. He couldn't breathe, you know, and it was the right time to stop the fight. He seemed quite het up and quite like a little bit angry afterwards when he was talking to...
That's because everyone always doubts him. He feels doubted. He feels like, rate me. I get in the ring, I show you lot what I'm made of, and no one wants to put respect on my name. And do you know what? I quite like when he finishes fights and he's angry. I think it's like
this was extreme to me, because I was like he looked like he wanted to fight the cameraman. Do you know what I mean?
And Eddie Hearn was like thinking, whoa, okay.
But why do you think he's like that? Is it because do you think people might doubt him just because he's the son of a boxer?
That's what I think,
and they think he's just been propelled into the sport, and maybe he didn't work his way.
And I think he did work his way up. His dad is has really much say in his career. He's not in the spotlight, and, you know, like Eubank and Eubank Jr., he's not like that.
Yeah, he's quite
and he's
separate.
made it. Yeah, and Nigel Benn also said in many interviews that he doesn't want to take over his son's career.
Mhm.
You know, his son has his career, and it's separate from, you know, father and son relationship. So, and I respect that. I respect that, because look at him now. Who knows if his dad was heavily involved in his career, would he have achieved where he is now? We don't know. But I think that, sorry, just to go back to what you said, I think that is why every time he finishes a fight, he's so amped up, because they think that he's trying to make it off the back of his dad's name. And he knows that that's not the case. And his dad knows that that's not the case.
It makes sense. And all he has to do is, you know, just give it the time that he can prove it. I think he's more than proven himself thus far. He's got more to go. And the names that he's called out, obviously, after that fight, and everyone's been talking about Amir Khan. You mentioned Sean
Kell
Brook,
Adrian
Adrian Broner.
Yeah.
I mean, who does he fight next?
I agree with what his trainer said. His trainer said that he's not going to the next fight is not going to be Kell Brook, and it's not going to be Amir Khan. Who's next? I actually don't know. Maybe Adrian Broner.
I'm thinking that.
Maybe.
I'm thinking that. And the reason I say no to Amir and to Kell, I respect them both highly as boxers. They've more than proven themselves in their careers. But we know that they're at the end of their careers. And what I don't want to happen to Conor is he beats one of them and people say, oh, well, they're has-beens anyway. And then he doesn't get the credit. Do you know what I mean? Like, he already feels like he's not getting the credit. And he may not get the credit for two retires that are kind of not that far from retirement from the sport. Do you know what I mean? So Adrian Broner, I like that one.
Yeah, I'm not hugely sold yet. But I would say out of the list we've just mentioned, Adrian Broner will probably be the one.
How do you think the fight would go?
See that now? Well, I said with Samuel Vargas that it would have been tough for Conor Benn. Conor Benn is unpredictable. The reason why I say that is because I said it was going to go 12 rounds. And in my head, I was adamant that that's how it was going to go. I wasn't going to see a knockout. Just because I've seen Samuel's Vargas's other fights.
Yeah.
And I think if you didn't watch any of his fights, if you didn't know who he was as a boxer, you would have thought Ben was fighting a novice. You would have thought it was someone that didn't even know how to box or anything. He didn't even know how to take a punch. He didn't even know what way to turn left or right because he was so fast and so quick. Yeah. So how that fight goes, I can't tell you, because I was adamant that he was going to take it to 12 rounds. So
Adrian Broner's been inactive for quite a while. I know he's recently had a fight, but before that he had been inactive for quite some time. So, and I know there's been questions about Adrian, about how serious he takes boxing. He's not got a bad record, but you know, he's kind of in and out. It's a little bit social media heavy and stuff. So at this point, looking at things, I would give it to Conor Benn in that fight. I'm not sure. I wouldn't like to say how the win would happen, but Conor's been active. Do you know what I mean? He's been really active, and it just seems.
And you can see the growth.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know what's next for him.
I mean, I would definitely give it to Conor Benn. I would always, because I support him, and I'm a huge fan of him, as well as Adrian Broner. But I am more swayed to Conor Benn, and that's the truth.
Guys, I think that brings us to the end of another show. Katie, you want to give us the socials?
Sure, guys. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Boxing and Bants. And again, it's Bants with a Z, not an S.
That's it. And guys, obviously we are Katie and Sham at Boxing and Bants. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.